we are going to see what is Android, and we are going to see what is material design in Android. So, so myself, Akhilesh, and I have an experience of around 6 years in mobility. So I'm a trainer and a ACADGILD, and with that, I also work in a mobile company. So I'm a tech lead in a multinational company. So this is about myself. So let's start with the introduction of the Android. Then we will start going deeper, right? So first, let's see what is Android. So before starting, I want to ask whether I'm audible or everyone is able to see the screens. So can we start now? Pushpa, are you there? Okay. So first thing, what is Android, right? So we are going to start Android. So we should know that what is actually Android, right? So as we know, Android is a phone, right? And with a phone, Android has a operating system, right? So every phone has a own operating system, or every machine or every laptop which we use has its own operating system, right? So in the same way, Android has its own operating system, right? So Android is the name of the device, and Android is a operating system which is based on Linux, right? So the current version which we are using is 6.0.1, and which is a marshmallow, right? And it was released on the 9th December 2015, around 2 3 months ago, right? So Android, it was introduced by a company, right? Or you can say the former owner of the Android was Android Inc., right? So this company has created the Android, and in 2005, Google has bought this project from Android Inc., and they start working on the enhancement of the project. And by mid of 2008 and 9, Android comes to the market in a more better way, right? So now, if you are using Android phone, you must aware that like what is the Google Play, right? So we have applications in our mobile phone from which we can download the uh, applications, right? And the applications, mobile Android applications, right? Now, still breaking. Rakesh, Rajesh, now my voice is still breaking. Now able to hear. Okay. Basic Java is enough for, so you have a question, Sunny, like basic Java is enough for any kind of Android application? Yes, basic Java, if you know the core Java, then it is enough for Android. Yeah, I've just reconnected my session. Yeah, so now we have you are able to hear. Yes, so I will give you some examples, right? And with examples, I will show you. So first, I will start with some theory, right? Then we will start with some examples. So let's come back to the topic, right? So as I said, that Android is an operating system, and it was introduced by a company known as Android Inc. And with 2005, Google has started working on the Android, and he had introduced certain features by 2007, right? So Hello guys. So now I'm audible. So now my voice is clear. Okay. So now let's talk about Android operating system, right? Like how Android operating system is created. So basically, Android operating system is based on the Linux kernel, right? And it is it is based on the Linux kernel, so it is safe from the virus, right? And with and the main feature which we want to discuss is Android is an open source, right? So as it is open source, so many companies are working on these platforms to enhance the feature of the operating system, right? So basically, Android is an open source, right? So companies like Samsung, Motorola, even the Indian companies like Micromax and other companies, they got the open source, they got the Android operating system, the code of the Android operating system, and they customize it according to their own uses, right, and according to their own need. So you may find that the features of the Android phone may differ in a different mobiles, right? And we have different type of screen sizes, and we have different phones and they have different sizes and they have different functionalities, right? So that is the main reason why Android is hit in the market, right? That many companies are working on it and they are providing new features in the phones. And not only the phones, right? You can find Android in the cars, you can find Android on the wearable device like the Google glasses, your bands, right? So we have
Hello.
hello.
Akhilesh, this is Abhinav from ACADGILD. I believe, yeah, your screen was not shared. No problem. Please continue. Please.
Okay.
Thanks.
So welcome. So with the phone, we have tablets, we have wearable devices like Google Glasses, right, and the bands. Or we, if you have seen the cars like the audio feature of the car like Audi, right, and Audi, and even in the Mercedes, they have implemented the Android operating system in the music player and the lock system of the phones, lock system of the car, right? So with the time, they are working on this Android project, and in a coming time, you will find this Android operating system in many type of devices, not only on the phone and other devices as well, right? So now we have Android switches, right? So if you in your home, if you have applied Android switches, right? So it's a device, and you can connect the device to your main electricity connection in your home, and from mobile you can see that which switch is on and which switch is off. You can from your home you can see that is light of your bedroom is on or off, or even you can on or off the line, or on off the bulb or the switch from your office, right? So Android has a great career, right, in the coming days. So this was something about the Android, right? So now we come to the ACADGILD, right? So we are in ACADGILD, so we give training to the various courses, right? So digital marketing, Android development, big data development, Node.js, cloud computing, cyber security, right? And this organization has created by Vinod Dham, right? Which is I know you guys know his name. It was the so it is he is the father of Pentium, right? Pentium chips, right? And this organization has been created by IIT and IIM alumni. So the content, all the contents you get from the from the ACADGILD designed by the IITs persons, right? So you will get a best from the company. So let's talk about the agenda of the session. So first we will, so we have already talked about the Android, right? Now I will explain you the components, and first I will show you like what is Android Studio. Android Studio is a framework. Then I will create a sample application, a Hello World application for you, right? Then we will discuss other building blocks, and at last we will decide. We will discuss about the Android material design, right? So any questions, guys? Okay, so we in Android we have Android Studio. So Android Studio is a framework which has been provided by the Google itself, right? And it is you can get it from the Android developer site, and it is free of cost. And this tool, or you can say this framework, using this framework, you can write a code for Android, right? For Android devices, Android wearable, for and Android external devices as well. Right. So let's see how what is Android Studio and how we can create an application. Okay, so you have a question: is any pre-requirements for learning Android? Yes, we can. You should know Java. Core Java is mandatory if you want to start working in the Android. So I will just answer one by one. So Ashish, you have a question. What is Android? So Android basically is a phone, right? And Android is also an operating system which is installed on the phone which you are using, right? So basically it is a phone, right? And that phone contains Android operating system. And you have anonymous viewer, you have a question. Okay, I have answered it. So Sunny, you have a question, which is a better Android Studio or Eclipse? So obvious, Android Studio is better, right? So previously we were using Eclipse when Android Studio was in a beta version, right? And at that time, Google was providing the updates in the Eclipse plugins, but now they have stopped working on the plugins. So from now, Android Studio is recommended because in Eclipse you will not get a update plugins, right? So use Android Studio, don't go for Eclipse if you are working in Android, right? So any other questions, guys? Okay, Alka, you have a question. Will the API for phones and tablet be similar to that of the Google Glass on Wear? So some APIs of Google Glass and Wear are different. So we have the SDK. So in Android we have different SDKs, right? So SDKs means software development kit. So it contains various APIs, and for Android tablet and phones, we have the same one, but for devices for the external devices like Google Glasses or Wear, we have Android W, right? So it is a different. So you will get it on SDK. Okay, Nikhil, you have a question. Is there any story behind the name of the OS as Android? Uh, no, I don't think so. There's any story behind the Android, right? So if you see the names of the Android version like Cupcake and the Froyo, Lollipop, Marshmallow, so all the names are related to some snacks, right? So this is only the story. Okay, Vishal, you have a question. I currently having live app in a Google. Okay, so Vishal, you have a question. I currently having the live app in a Google Play career guidance. Okay, that's great. And Sumit, you have a question. What are the prerequisites before installing Android Studio? So you should have a laptop or a computer in which you have a minimum 4 MB of RAM, right? And you should have a good internet connection, because Android Studio, when you download Android Studio, it will update the SDK from the Android website. Okay, Ramesh, you have a question. Will you leave this 2 hours video on a YouTube or somewhere to download and view later? I think you will get the link of the video so that you can see it on a website. Sunil, you have a question, but its emulator is very slow. So yes, emulator is very slow because actually emulator is a virtual device, right? So whenever you run a virtual device in your operating system, it will take the memory space, the RAM space. So you should go on the settings and increase the RAM space, RAM of your emulator, make it 2 GB, right? Or even it's better if you are going to use or you are going to run your application in your phone, right? Okay, Ashish, you have a question. How to open and start Android Studio? So I will show you how we can open and close it. Shashank, you have a question. Can we say Android Studio is IDE for Android development? Yes, indeed. Okay, Sunny, you have a question. I'm currently developing a server-based social app from my developer. Can I edit the app after learning ACADGILD because I don't know coding language? So you are currently working on a server-based social app. Okay, so you are working on some server-based languages. Yes, if you want to put your project or you put your application from web to mobile, you can do so, right? You you should know, but before that, you should know the core Java and Android if you are planning to put your application in Android. Okay, Pitharia, you have a question. Will you teach us only theory or coding? No, I will teach you the coding as well. I'm just just answering your questions, right? After that, we will start the coding part. Yes, Vishal, I will tell you like what the about the material design and other things, right? Any difference between simulator and emulator simulator or emulator? They both are the same, but simulator mostly we tell simulator in iOS and Xcode, right? When you work for the iOS system, and emulator we tell it in Android. So you will get the recorded file. I think the you will get it by the second glade. It's not an issue. Now, you GRE kind of thing, you should install Java before running the Android Studio, right? And then you should have to update. So I think the questions are enough. Let's come back to the Android Studio. So whenever you need to download the Android Studio, simple, just open or write that's Android Studio for Windows. Right? So you'll get this page, click on this. So I'm using a Mac, so in my system it is showing for a Mac. So if you are in a Windows, then it will show for a Windows, and if you're in a Ubuntu, then it will show for the Ubuntu, right? You just have to download and install it. It will give you an instruction, just press next, 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 right? And it will download and update your Android Studio with the SDK, Software Development Kit. Now, when it is downloaded, you should have to open it. File, new project. So let's start with the name. So this is the first Android application name. So here you can give the application name. So application name, it's on you. Let's say ACADGILD demo, right? Then you can pass any package name. So basically package name, it's a company domain name, right? So it's not necessary that you will pass that .com. Even you can write a single name, but it is recommended to use your company domain name, right? So I'm using ACADGILD, let's say hello.com, right? So you can use .name. So this is the basic package name, and this is the project location where you want to save it. Now press next. So first, it will ask you that whether you want to create it for the tablet, Wear, TV, Red Auto, glasses, right? So I want to make it for phone and tablet. You can set the SDK level. So I'm using the latest one, 6.0 Marshmallow. Right, then you'll got this templates, right? So you can use any of these templates, right? So I'm using this blank activity. Next, this is the name of your activity, this is layout name, this is the title, and this is the menu resource name. Let's finish it. So this message, building ACADGILD demo Gradle project information, right? So we will discuss what is Gradle and what this means, building the application. So this is your application, right? Now let's see what this means. So first folder is the Gradle, idea, app. They are the folders and they are auto-generated. So this structure is auto-generated from the Android Studio, right? This file .gradle file and .idea file, that is auto-generated file, and this contains the uh, files of the Gradle and idea file. So let's discuss what is Gradle file. Then we will discuss about the project structure. So in Android Studio, we have two ways to build our project, right? So we have two types of building script languages. So but first one is or you can say we have two types of the building tools. The first one is a Maven, second one is a Gradle, right? So and here I'm going to tell you what is Gradle, right? So whenever I say building tool, it means some tool which is going to build a project for you. Building a project means you have a classes, right? You have .classes file, you have resources like images, and you have XMLs, menus, everything, right? So this Gradle tool will download, will build a project for your application, right? Or you can say build a APK for your application. So we have a tool now. To see here, right? So this saying that I'm using this plugin. My compile SDK version is 23, tool version is 23.0.2, and this is my default config build types. And if you see, we have dependencies. So if you have used Eclipse, you have seen that if you are going to use the support library, then for support library at that time you are putting the support jar file on a libs, right? But here you have to define this dependencies, compile, and I'm telling that compile android.support.appcompact or com.android.support.design, right? Or JUnit. So what it is doing, what it will do at a runtime, it will pass this script it will see dependencies, right? And in a dependencies, it will see the compile, right? It will find, okay, I have to compile this. I have to compile this, right? So basically they are the libraries, and at a runtime, it will compile and add this to your projects. Not only this, now we have more other options that we can do here, right? So basically here, what I want to tell is in build.gradle file, we can put our configuration, and at runtime, when we run our application, it will configure our project according to the script which we have written in this Gradle file, right? So this is the application. Now this is the main folder where we are going to work, app, right? And this one, your SRC, your main. This is the main folder, and this is the main one where we are going to work, right? So here you will get this Java file, right? And here in a Java file, you'll get the class names, right? So I have a class name main activity. So this is my main activity, which is extending the app compact activity. Even you can use the activity also, but I have used the default one, right? So in the default one, they have, or in Android Studio, they have created an activity known as the app compact activity, and which is a, or you can say, which is designed, or which is enhanced in a more better way. So if you see this class is also an activity, right? But it is extended with the activity and customized. So this is your main activity, right? So here if you see, this is an activity, and activity is a component in the Android, right? And activity is the only class from which you can see the screens, right? So now if you come to this method set content view, we are setting set the content view of this activity. What I have said, activity is a class which will show you a screen, and here I am saying set a content view, right? So content view, it means it's setting a view for my activity. Now let's see what is the view. So if you see, this is my layout activity main XML. So in Android, if you want to design a layout or UI, you can create it with XML, right? Or even you can create with the code, but it is recommended to use the XML for designing the layout, right? Here on the right side, if you want to see the preview, just click on the preview. So this is the view which we have designed, right? So I have used the default one, so it is showing me the default one, right? So this is the floating button, right? For and this is your view. This is toolbar. Now let's come back to the Android structure. So here, Java, it contains, if you see the name, this contains the packages com.hello.acadglid.acadglid demo, right? So this is the package which I have created, right? So this package contains the main activity which you have created, and if, let's say if you want to create a Java file, or if you want to create an interface, you have to right click here, just go to the new Java class, write the name, let's say my class. If you want to make it interface, make it interface. If you want to make it enum annotation singleton, so I'm going to make it a class, right? So this is your class. You can see this class is now here in this package. If you want to make it activity, just extend it with the activity class, right? So now this is your activity. Now this is the package where we put the classes. Now let's come to the resource folder. We have a resource folder in which we can put a resources. So basically, resource is denoted with the res, and a resource, what it means is it contains a layout, contains a menu, drawable, right? So what they means in a layout, you will get a designs, right? So the XML designs we should have to put on the layout for the screens, right? And in menu folder we'll put the menus, right? And we have the different folders like drawable, and a drawable we have to put the images. This is this is the mip map folder, and this is for placing the images if you want to make it resolution free, right? And we have values, and the values we have colors, right? So there we can define the colors. In more generic way we can define the dimensions, strings, styles, right? This is our values 21, values W820DP. So basically we have different types of folders, right? If you see, we have 3 values. So what they mean, in Android we have different phones, and the phone sizes can be differed, right? So if you see, I have folder SDPI, MDPI, XXDPI. So I have placed same images with the same name, but dimension are different. If you see the dimension, it is 48 cross 48. It is 72 cross 72. It is 96 cross 96. It is 144 cross 144. So basically what that means, if you run your application on a different size of resolution, it will pick the images from those folder automatically, right? So they are the resolution: double, triple X, double X, single X, MDPI, and SDPI. At last, we have an Android manifest file. In Android, whenever you want to define any component, so basically we have 4 components in the Android: activity, which I have shown you, and with the activity we have services, broadcast receiver, right? And content provider, we have 4 components: activity, services, broadcast receiver, and content providers, right? So whenever you create any component, you should have to give, or you should have to define in the manifest file. So if you're aware about the web technologies, it's something like the web config file, right? So what we do in manifest file, we will define the name of the components, we will define the permission, and permissions means, let's say, or if your application is going to use the internet in a phone, or let's say if your application wants to write something on your SD card, right, then it should have to give the permissions, or you can say it should have to pass the user permission, right? So we have different type of user permission, let's say for internet, right? So you have to pass the permissions, you can define the components. So whenever your application is going to install on the phone, so first this manifest file will be uh, read by the Play Store, right? So Play Store will read that file, and it will, or you can say your OS will read this file and create a mapping, right? So mapping will check that this application which is going to install on the phone, right, contains that number of components and that number of permissions. So this is basically the information about your applications, right? So some information are necessary or mandatory to define, right? If you want to change the structure, using the project structure, if you want to see it on a package structure, you can change it to the package structure. So this one is which we have created, another one they are created by default, right? If you want to change it to Android, you can change it to Android project files, right? So they are the different view hierarchies. I'm using the project one, right? So let's run this application and let's see how it looks. So now it's point come whenever you want to run this application. It's very simple. Select this application and click on this button. So I have an emulator. Okay, Parul, you have a question that if you are going to register all broadcast receiver programmatically, not through the manifest, then how will application got to know? Yes, but whenever you are going to run it, right? Application got to know that you're going to firing a broadcast receiver, right? And it will check that whether it is registered or not. So you can get drivers from the internet, search in the internet, right? Singleton, it is singleton. If I say my class is a singleton, it means that it is going to create only one instance of the class for whole application lifecycle. Okay, so this is my application which I have created. Now, if you see, this is the menu option. Right, so this is a floating button, snack bar. This is a toolbar, right? So this is a material design, right? But we will start. But I'm going to start a material design, right? So this was some basics about the Android Studio and the Android application architect and Android. Now let's come to the Android Studio, right? And let's see here what it means. Let's see the presentations, right? What is written here. So what is Android? It's a development environment, right? So Android is a mobile operating system OS based on the Linux kernel, right? And currently developed by the Google. Android is open source software for platform, right? So it is open source, so it is using by the different companies, right? So if you have seen, the Apple phones are only developed by the Apple, right? So it is not used by the other companies. So other companies are not. It's not like Samsung is going to create the Apple phones, right? So because that iOS or Apple is not open source, right? Android is open source, so it is used by the different companies. A complete stack OS middleware application, fast application development using Java, right? So we have already discussed about it. Now, what I've said, Android has 4 components, right? And those 4 components are activity, content provider. So activity provides a screen with which user can interact in order to do something. Basically, you can say activity is a screen, or activity is only the component which can show you a screen, a user interface, right? And this content provider, it supplies the data from one application to other on request, right? So basically, in Android, what happens due to security reasons in Android, every applications run in its own sandbox. Let's say if this is your phone, and we have different applications. Right? Let's say we have different application. Let's give a name application A and application B. Now, So on Android, due to security reason, every application run in its own sandbox, which is known as a sandboxing. So basically, what sandboxing means, this application A will only use the memory area which is allotted for him, right? For application A, right? So let's say if this is the memory area which has been allotted for A, right? So A can't go beyond this memory area, right? So A can't go beyond this memory area, right? So in this case, you can't say that A is going to use the memory area of B, right? So due to the security reason, A and B will run on its own memory area, right? And this is known as a sandboxing. But now we have a case. Let's say A want to share some data with the application B. Then how can we do it? For this, we have a component known as a content provider. So we have a component known as a content provider, which will allow you to transfer data between, let's say this is my content provider. So this A will put the data in this content provider, and B can take a data from this content provider, right? And let's say this content provider is created by A, right, to share a data. So basically this content provider is a part of application A, and this content provider is created by application A, right, so that B can fetch a data from this, right? Now we have a broadcast receiver. So if you see the definition of content provider, now it will be more clear. Supplies data from one application to other on request, right? Supplies data from one application to other on request. Third one is a broadcast receiver. So if you see, simply respond to the broadcast message from other applications or from the system itself. These messages are sometimes called the events or intents. So what it means, in Android, applications can broadcast a message. So broadcasting means, if you remind, on a radio, right? Radio broadcast a message, right? And here at our end, or you can say the radio station broadcast a message, and at our end, radio is capable of listen those messages, right? If our radio has capability, or you can say has capability to listen that frequency, right? So in mobiles, any application can broadcast a message, or even OS can broadcast a message, right? And other application can listen it. Broadcasting, if you have seen the examples, like let's say if you are using an application, right, and if internet goes off, right, so your application got to know, so you can notify your application that okay, now internet is gone off, now internet come back, right? So you can notify your application that now internet come. Similarly, if the battery goes lower, then you can notify your application that yes, now battery got lower, right? So these are the messages, right? And these messages are transferred with the help of intent class. So we'll discuss intent here. Application component that can perform a long running operation in the background and does not provide a user interface, right? So service is also a component, and service don't have any user interface. You can run a service on a background, right? And service will do your task in a background. So basically service will also run on the main thread. So I will discuss what is the main thread once I complete these components. So service, you can say, is a process which runs on a background, which don't have any screen, and which is going to complete your task, right? And then we have intent. Intent is a class which is used to start those components, right? Or you can say you can use an intent for message transferring, right? If you want to pass a message between one component to Android, you can use an intent class, right? So it is written that an intent is an abstract description of an operation to be performed, right? So what I've said, it can be used for start an act component, or it can be used for message transferring, right? So in intent, you can define what you want to perform and what message you want to communicate between the components, right? So after this topic, we'll start the material design, right? First, I want to tell you one more thing. Whenever this application will started by the operating system, right? And one thread, or you can say one process, has been allocated to it, right? And that is known as a main thread, right? So A has its own main thread, B has its own main thread, and this main thread is created by operating system for your application, right? And all the components of the Android, all the 4 components of the Android, they runs on a main thread. Service is also runs on the main thread, and service is not, it's not like that service is running on a background, so it's going to create its own thread. Service also runs on the main thread. All the UI components, it runs on the main thread, right? So I'm going to start the material design. So a lot of questions. So yes, everyone will get the video and the PPT. It's not an issue. So all the questions related to the material design I will cover in the when I start working on the material design. So Nikhil, you have a question that what is the profit of making open source play of making open source software platform? So basically, when you make an open source platform, many companies are going to use it, right? And see, this open source is not created by the small companies, right? So it is created by the big companies like the Google, IBM, right? So they don't only have this project Android, right? So when you create open source, it means you come up with a new idea, right? So you are leading the people. So uh, in Android, so lakhs of people are working on the Android, and crores of people are using the Android phones, right? So see what they have done, right? So creating an open source, it means that we are creating some new thing for the new people, for the generations, right? And they are the big companies, so everyone knows the Google, everyone knows the Android, right? So if Google will do anything, right? If Google will create any paid product, right? So even people are going to buy it. So this is all for the name, right? For the name of the company. Yeah, you can contact ACADGILD for the help, right? So let's start the Android Studio. Sorry, Android material design. So in the new version in the Android Lollipop, they have introduced. If you have the questions, guys, you can put your question in the QA sessions. We have a QA sessions as well, right? So it's not possible to answer all the questions, right? So it's not enough time for discussing all the things, right? So I'm sorry for that, but you can ask your question we have a quiz sessions, right? So let's come to the Android material design. When a point comes, material design, Android introduced a material design in its lollipop feature, right? And uh, whenever I say, or when or Android says that material design is based on paper and ink, right? Paper and ink. What it means that you have a paper, you have a ink, draw it what you want to do, or how you want to draw. So basically, material design, or you can also say material design as a not as a flat design pattern, right? So in a material design, we have layers, right? Uh, layers, what I mean is you can create a layer of the views, right? Or you can give a motion to the views, right? So if you see, they are the layers. We can put the layers. We can show the bold graphic intentionally, right? And we can use emotions like ripple effects, right? So I will show you the ripple effects, or how we are going to use the material metaphor. So I will create an application. So I have already created an application which contains this card layouts, right? So, but before that card layout, I will introduce you some of the feature which we will discuss in the material design. So we will discuss about the material design. This is something, the introduction of the material design. Then I will show you the recycler view with the cards. Then I will show you the tool application, and in the application, then I will show you the toolbar, floating action button, recycler view, card view, okay, palettes, and I will show you dependencies, right? So I'm going to run the application so that I can explain the each and everything to you in a code. So in a material design, they have introduced a new feature. So new features like they have put the animations, they have put the uh, motion events, right? So let's discuss. I think it will be more good if I show it in a program. So how it's look. So this is the demo application which I have created. So first I have created 3 buttons. See the effect, ripple effect, and see this button is round. This is a rectangle button. See the ripple effect. Even if you use a single button, see the effects, the waves. See this floating text views. So if you have already worked on the Android, then this is a simple edit text where I have used a floating layout. After discussing these, I will show you the card view. So this is the card view. So let's discuss each and everything one by one. So this is our application. Come to the application app, SARC, main, Java. This is my main activity. So this is the simple activity. Here I have created a layout activity main. First I have created a text view. So this one is my text view, right? I have given a height to 200 dp. Now second, I have created a linear layout inside which I have put 3 buttons. So my first button is a round button, second is a rectangle, third is a simple button. So let's discuss each of them. So first one is my round button. So whenever I need to create a button, I should use this tag button, right? And I have to, what extra I have done here is I have passed a background, right? Let's go to the background. You can see this is the ripple effect which I have given. So we have a tag known as a ripple, right? Here you can define the background color, or you can define the shape, right? So the default color is a, when you press it, if you see, so when I press it, it gives me the effect of red and yellow. So the shape which I have defined in the item is a yellow color, right? So this is my shape tag inside which I have defined a solid tag with a yellow color. Then I have passed this color red, which will give the background ripple effect. See the background ripple effect. And I have defined the shape as an oval. So it is showing you an oval shape. Now if you come to the second button and see this, so basically you will find those here, resource, drawable, ripple rectangle, ripple round, right? So inside a drawable, I have created those selectors. So this is the ripple, and I have created, and I have said that the ripple effect will be yellow, color is red, and it is not an oval, it is a rectangle. If you change it to line, this will be changed to a line, right? If we change this to an oval, it will change to a oval. I'm using a rectangle, right? Now come back to main activity. So in those two, I have two buttons. First one is a, so basically they all are the button. What I am doing is I'm changing the, or I'm passing a ripple effect, right, in a background. Right? And if you want to maintain the ripple effect, you can pass the animation. So I have created an animation here in the fab animation. Right? So here in fab animation, I have defined an item, and inside it I have defined a animator, object animator. So this is also the new one, the object animator. We can pass it the translation of Z. So I have passed the translation Z as a name, right? And I have passed a duration and the value 2, right? So this will create my animation. Now the third button, this is a simple one. So even it is a simple one, it will, by default, it will provide you this ripple effect. If you want to customize, then you can create your ripple selector in a drawable, and you can change the color and other things, animations. But by default, it will look like this, right? Now let's come to these buttons. sorry, those edit text. So this edit text, this one is a simple edit text, but I have wrapped this edit text with a text input layout, right? So this text input layout, I have make it match parent, hide wrap content. So basically what it will do, it will wrap your edit text with a extra layer, right? So whenever you press here, the text which you have written here, enter your password, or the hint which you have entered here will be floated, right? So this is the floating text views. Whenever you tap, this will comes up, right? So it will start floating. Similarly, I have created a second one. So if you have been seen, this is the, I have used it from the support files, right? So I will discuss this. Let's once I completed this view, right? Now on a click of card view, I have created a list. So this is the different part. So let's first discuss those. Then we'll start the card layout. Now if you see how I have given the support files, see this. I have given a support to the design, card view, recycler view, palettes, right? So whenever you want to add those features, you should have to pass the card view and the other details, or you can say the other support libraries and dependencies, right? So you have to pass those dependency. Then only your application will. Also, whenever you change it, you have to sync it also, right? So if you pass those dependency, then only your application will got this classes from the uh, application, right? So now let's come back to main activity. Right. So this is simple. Now let's come to the code. In a code, I have done nothing. For those features which I have shown you, I have done nothing. Right. This is showing only with the XML, the change in the XMLs. Right. If you see, this view is, I have passed -40 dp in this view, so it is coming in this way. If I change it, let's say if I change it to, let's say -60 dp. See, this is increased. Now it is here. Let's say if I make it 80, then it is here, right? So make it 40. So this was the, so we have discussed about the buttons, like how you can put the effects on the button. We have seen how we can use the floating text views, right? Now let's see the other things. Now on a tap of this card view, I will open a screen. Right? And if you see, when I press this card view, the screen will be open from that area. So I make it yellow. See, it is not showing good in the emulator, but if you run this application in your mobile, it will show in a more better way. If you press this, Even you can see when I press this, these view will be gone. Only this view will be visible, and then a screen will open. See, right? So it is giving an effect. So I have put this effect. I will show you how I have done this. On the click of my button, CardView button, I have created an intent. The intent which is going to create a list for us. Here I have used the activity option. This is a class, and I have make a transition animation, right? So I have make a transition animation, and this animation will start from this text view, right? This one. So transition will be started from this view. You can change the view, right? If you want to start the transition from this button, you can make a transition. So basically transition means the activity is going to start, a new screen is going to open, right? So from where it is going, from where it will start, from which view, or we can say the screen which you are already seeing, right, which is already visible. This screen is already visible. I want to say that I want to make a new transition, and I'm saying that make a transition from this text view. And what it means, it will make a new scene, make a new screen from that text view, right? So it's look like this. Whenever I press a button, see, transition is starting from this text view, right? So this is the method, activity options, and you have to make a transition. Then you can make a transition. You have to pass the name of the text view, and you have to give the name of the transition, right? So name of the transition is holder 1, and this is the view component. And at last you have to call start activity. So this is the way whenever you want to start a new activity, you should have to create an object of intent. You have to pass the name of the current activity or current context, and you have to pass the name of the class or name of the screen which you want to open. Now intent is ready. Start activity will open a new screen for you. Pass a intent and pass your activity option dot to bundle. So what it will do, it will pack this information in a bundle, right? So start activity will take intent and bundle object. So it will pack this information in an intent and in a inside a bundle, right? So we have two informations, intent and this bundle, right? So it will start a new activity. Now let's come to the recycler view, card view. See this bundle Gradle file. I have passed compile com.android support.cardview, and I have passed a library for a recycler view, right? So let's say how I'm using this recycler view, card view, and what they are, and how I'm using a palettes. Let's come to this class. So basically, recycler view is a replacement to the list view. If you know what is list view, basically list view is a view which will show just like a list, right? If you have seen the WhatsApp application, Facebook application, or many other applications, right? You can see the list. Basically, this is the list in a card format, right? They have items, names. So recycler view is basically a replacement to the list view. So when I say replacement to a list view, what it means is whenever we create a list, first I will give you some explanation, then I will explain you the recycler view. In a list view, whenever I create the items, let's say these are the items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and some items are at the top and some items are in a bottom, right? So when you scroll your list view to up and down, the items which are visible, right? So the items which are visible, so depends on the size of the mobile. So let's say it is in some screen it is visible five items are visible, and some screen 10 items are visible, right? So the number of items which are visible at a time, right? The object for those items is only created, right? Let's say if 5 items are visible, then 5 views will be created, right? When you scroll it up and scroll it down, those view which has been already created will be returned to you, right? Now let's say if I have used an image view here for showing an image, right? And you know image use a bitmap, and bitmap will consume the memory. And Android or in phones we have a limitation in limitation of memory, right? So let's say every image is going to use 100 KB, right? When you scroll it up and down, the view will be returned, right? Let's say I'm scrolling, and I again come, and when the second view will become, the second view will be returned, right? So we have only 5 views or 10 views according to the screen size, but when you scroll, it is not like that this view is going to hide at the top or this view is going to hide at the bottom, right? It's not like this. View is not hiding. Instead, a view will be recycled if it already exists, or view, or you can say view will be returned, right? Let's say this is for item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if you scroll it down and this item becomes 11. Now let's say this item is 11. Right? So it not means that 11th view is created. It means if item is on the top, then first view will be returned. Right? So in this case, if you are using the images, what you have to do, you have to pass different images when we scroll it down or scroll it up, right? So basically we can say we have to save the state, or we have to refresh the views every time with a new image or with a new data, right? In the scenario, let's say if I'm scrolling up and scrolling down, then again I'm scrolling up down, right? So what happens, we will come up with a problem, right? And the problem will, we will come up with a different objects or many objects, right? If we are not going to hold this created bitmaps, right? So I have a view, on the top of it I have an image view, right? I'm scrolling up and down. For this case, when I'm getting back recycled view, right, which I have already created, in this case I need to store the bitmaps which was already showing on a list, right? So this is a pattern, and we can create a class known as a view holder, which is going to store the components which are already drawn on the view, right? So this is what we use on the list view, right? So we have a concept of view holder, right, which will save a view for you, right? But in this recycler view, so when we use this list view, we have to create this view holder by our own. But in a new recycler view, they have implemented it, right? So now it's mandatory to use a view folder. Now let's come to the activity. So in a list, first I have a toolbar, right? So you can say toolbar is a replacement to the action bar, or you can use the action bar and the toolbar both at the same time, right? So this will show below of the action bar, right? So this is your toolbar. And this is our recycler view, right? In a place of list view, I'm using this recycler view. I have created a, I've given a name card list. Then we have a floating button, floating action button. So this is a floating action button, this one. Right. So floating action button is a button which you can place on a screen, right? It will float around. Now let's come back to the activity. So first I have initialized my toolbar. So we have a class known as a toolbar by findViewById. Then we have set if toolbar is not equal to null, then support action bar, and I have passed toolbar, right? So this toolbar will, we're calling this method support action bar, right? So if you see this, this is a method which is defined inside app compact activity. So this will support the toolbar. This will support the action bar, right? And your toolbar will be placed with the action bar, right? Then I call this get supported action bar, and I've changed the title to Android versions. Android versions. Then here I've initialized the floating button, floating button, floating button, floating action button, right? And this is my floating action button, right? And on a click of this floating action button, what I have done, I have created a snack bar. So basically this snack bar is a view, right? You can say this is a class which will show you a view, right? So on a tap of this, I'm opening this, right? So you have a method snack bar dot make. I'm passing a layout, so you have to pass a layout, right? So you can make the layout big or layout small. It's depend on you how you want to show it. So basically you can also assume it as a message, right? Or if you want to put a bigger screen, you can put a bigger screen, right? And you can pass a duration, right? For if you want to show the duration long, duration short. So this is the view which I have passed on the snack bar, then a snack bar dot show. Then if you want to get back the snack bar, the view of the snack bar, then you can call snack bar dot get view. This will return you the view. Then see what I have done. I have changed the background color to the blue. On it click, I have created a snack bar. On the click of my floating button, I have created a snack bar and I have changed the background color to the blue. Right? Now let's come to the recycler view. Here I have created a recycler view with this find view by ID. So this is my recycler view. Recycler view, whenever you want to create a recycler view, you should have to give the create a linear layout manager, right? So basically the card view which is going to create on the recycler view will be created with the help of this class linear layout manager, right? So you have to pass a linear layout manager here, set linear layout manager. Then what I have done, I have created a method create list. So what I'm doing nothing. I have a class known as a music information. So basically this music information, so this music informations are, I have just give 3 names, name, singer and email ID, right? So this is just a model class to just store the information. So here I have created a list, put a loop for 5 times, right? And created the object of this model class, or you can also say it as a Pojo class or getter setter class, or even you can say it's a bean class, right? And I have initialized the object and return the list view. Sorry, list, not list view. So I've returned the list. So this is my list, and then I have created adapter. So basically, whenever you have a list or recycler view, you need an adapter for showing a or for creating a views, right? So let's say I have a list view, I have a data, right? But I want to create a views according to the data, right? So let's say if the data 5, right? If I have 5 data, then I need to create 5 different cards on my recycler view, or I want to create 5 views in my list view, right? Or you can say 5 cells or 5 cards. So this adapter is a bridge between the data and a list view. Using this adapter, you can create the views, right? So what I have done, I have created an adapter and I have passed the data, right? Because I have said this is a bridge between the view and view, which is our recycler view, and a data. So I'm creating a adapter, I'm passing the information, the data, I'm passing the current context, and in my recycler view, I'm setting set adapter as a music adapter, which I have created. Let's go to this adapter. So this is the main class which I want to discuss. Here, whenever you want to create an adapter in a list view, I think you have used it with the help of our adapter, or you have been used the base adapter classes. Here we have a new adapter known as a recycler view adapter dot recycler view dot adapter, right? And we have a class known as, let's say, recycler view dot adapter, and here you can pass your view holder. So what I have said, in a list view we were creating the view holder, but in recycler view we should have to pass a view holder bit because it is maintaining it, right? It is maintaining it automatically. So you have to create a class and put it in a generic type, right? So this is my class, static class known as a contact view holder, which is going to extend this class recycler view this view holder, right? So this class will hold my views. My views are, I'll show you the views. This is my view. I have a card view. See, I have used a card view widget from a wizard, right? And inside the card view, I have created a relative layout in which I have passed text views, right? those text views, and I have set the background as a background with the image, right? So if you want to create a layout for a card view, it's a simple. You have to create a XML, right? Card view XML. See this card view, and you can put anything inside it, any views, right? So basically, this is the starting tag, this is the end tag, and now it's on you. You can put anything here, right? So this is the views which I have created there. So I have created those 4 text views, and in this constructor I have initialized it. That's simple, right? Name, surname, email, title, right? Now this is our view holder. Now we have a method known as a item count. So I have created this music adapter constructor, and I have passed a list and the context. If you want, you can change the constructor, you can pass other parameters as well, right? So I have a list I have initialized here, and I have an activity I have initialized, right? So these 2 variables are coming from the activity class. I have initialized them. Now this method item dot get item count. So basically the number of item which will be shown here will return by this method contact list dot size, right? So contact list is 5, so it is showing the 5 items. If it is 100, then it will show the 100 items. Then we have a method on bind holder and on create view holders. These 2 methods are overridden. See, they both are the overridden method. If you see them, this is the abstract class, and we have 2 abstract methods: create view holder and create, and second method is on bind view holder, right? So we have 2 objects. Sorry, we have 2 methods. So here on bind view holder and on create view holder. So first, I will discuss this one on view holder. So this method on view holder will call every time when a new view is created, right? Whenever a new view is created, this holder will be called, right? So what it will do, it will create a view for you, and what it will do, it is inflate this layout, XML layout, right? And it has 3 parameters: ID, view group, and if you want to attach the existing view in a hierarchy or not. So I'm passing a false. Don't want to store it, and it will give you the position, an integer position of the item. Then in this method you will get a item view. So this is your item view. For a single one, it is called once, right? For a second one, for a third one, for everyone it is called once. For every view, or say for every card view, it will be called. For every new instance of a card view, it will be called. And from here I will return this contact view holder, and I will pass this item view, right? So this is basically your class. So the class which you will pass here on this generic type, right? That will be shown here as a return type, right? So whenever this method will run, you will get a object of this class. That's all, right? Now let's come to this method on bind view holder. So whenever you are initializing your view, either on a scrolling or either when you are showing it the first time, this method on bind view holder will be called. On bind view holder means you are going to bind the data with the view holder, right? So what you are going to do, you are going to bind the data of, you are going to bind the data with the view holder. So here I have an I which will tell you which will tell us that which position we are talking about, and here it will tell you contact view holder that which holder we want to initialize, right? So here I have created the music information metadata, or not metadata, the music information model class, right? Then here from the contact list I have called getI. So basically this contact list dot getI will return you object of this music information. So what I have said here in this method, I will bind the data and bind the data with the view. So it's obvious I need a data, so I'm calling my contact list that I need a data, right? So I have an index, so I'm getting a data of particular index. Now in holder, I'm calling view holder.vname, set text, name, singer, email, set title, name plus singer. So I'm setting those, initializing those 4 views, right? I will talk about those. First I want to complete the recycler view, then I will talk about the palettes, right? And that's all, right? On a view holder, it will initialize it and it will show you the data, right? And our view holder is created. Now let's see, whenever I tap on the cards, I'm getting a data. So tapping on a recycler view is changed. On a list view, we have the methods like on item click listener, right? So you get to know that which item has been clicked, but here in a recycler view, that method is not used. So they have created this on a more better way. So first I will want to tell you like why they have changed it. Let's say this is your card. Inside the card you have a button. Let's say text. Right now when I tap on this card view, so if I'm tapping here, I'm tapping on a card view, but if I'm tapping here, I'm tapping on the button. If I'm tapping here, I'm tapping on the text view, right? So if you see, we have layers. So this one is the first layer of button, and this is the second layer of the card view. So whenever I tap, let's say if I'm tap on the button, so first click listener will be handled by this button, then this will go to this card view, right? I'm tapping on the button, then this will go to the card view. Now in recycler view, the click listener is so changed that you can maintain the click listener of view, and or you can say you can categorize the click of view and its child views, right? So it is changed. Now let's see how we are going to maintain, or how we are going to handle the click listener. So what I have done, I have called RecyclerView has a method RecyclerView dot add on item touch listener, new recycler item click listener, right? You have to pass the context, then you have we will get a click of the item, right? So if you see this, basically this method is created by me, right? And what I have done, I have created a class, implemented this class with a RecyclerView dot on item touch listener, right? Now, now this class is a type of a touch listener, right? And we have some methods on item click listener, on item intercept touch listener, on touch event, on request disallow intercept touch event, right? So here in this method, on intercept touch event, you will get a recycler view, you will get a motion, right? Motion event. So here I have checked if when I clicked, I got to know that, or you can say I tapped here on a button, right? So it will fetch the XY coordinate, right? X and Y coordinate, and it will find the tap, the where tap has been occurred, right? It is occurred on the child view, it is occurred on the card view, it is occurred on any, or you can say it is occurred on which view, right? So it will fetch out the XY coordinate and it will return you the view, right? If I tap here on a button, it will fetch out the XY and it will let me know that yes, I have tapped on this button. If I tap here, it will get me the XY of this text view where I have tabbed, and it will return me the child view. If I tabbed here on a card view, this is work for the card view, right? Then I have a child view here, right? Then I will check if card view is not null, if listener is not null, and if gesture detector dot is on touch event, then I will initialize my listener dot on item click listener. So basically I have created a on item click listener interface, right? And uh, this will return you the view where it has been tabbed, and it will return you the position as well, right? And if you see here, I have implemented this interface. New recycler item click listener dot on item click listener, on item click listener, right? And it will return you the position and the view where we have clicked on, right? And here I have shown you toast.make text, get application context, and I have shown you the item position where you have tapped on this, tapped on this. So basically, you can say here in recycler view, we have more better option to handle the click list or handle the events, right? So if you want to manage the click of card view and the items differently, you can do it, right? So you can manage it in a different way, or you can say if you want to manage it separately, you can manage it separately, right? So they have given now they have given this, or you can say they have put on you, right? What you want to do, you can manage the events of your child views or the listeners or the list views, or you can say the card view of the recycler, right? Now let's come back to the palettes. I want to discuss about the palettes. So in material design, they have given us a new, or given us one more way, or you can say given us one more API, palettes. So basically, what palette will do, uh, let's say if this if this is if I have put an image in a background, let's say if I have an image in a background, right? So I have image in a background, and I say this view to fetch a palettes. And what it will do, it will fetch the uh, color from this image, right? It will fetch the color from this image, right? If you see this, I have changed the color of this views according to this image. If you see, it is showing two images. Now let's see. I have created a bitmap, decode my bitmap. So I have decoded this image, right? So I have decoded this image and I have put this on a bitmap, right? Then I have uh, call the color from this palette, right? So I've called palette dot from bitmap, from which bitmap I want to get a palette, right? So I pass the palette. Now I have this palette. Now from this palette you can choose a color. So I'm tell me the vibrant color. So vibrant color is the most visible. Then I have called the tell me the dark color or vibrant light color, muted light color, muted dark color. I have used a 3-1: muted dark color, vibrant, and muted muted dark. Sorry, vibrant dark, vibrant, and muted dark. I've used 3-1, and if you see, for the first one, I'm using the dark. See, it is as according to the image. It is different and it is different, right? So what it's doing, it is doing, or it is getting the colors from the background image, right? So palette will fetch a background, fetch a color from the background bitmap, right? And it will give you the different shades, right? Or different levels of the color. Let's say, because see in this image, the most vibrated color is this black, right? And the most light color, you can see this is the yellowish one, right? And I have done the same for I have done the same here. I have done the same palettes here. If you see, I have called get photo. Right? See, from the get photo, I have called bitmap factory, decode my resource, decode my images, right? Then I have called colorize. So these are the methods which we have created. So colorize will return you the palettes, and then I have changed the background color of the toolbar, floating button, and recycler view. See, I have changed the toolbar color to palette.get light vibrant color, default color, floating button, and recycler view, right? So let's do an experiment. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change the image. Let's say I'm going to put this image on a background. IC launcher. So I'm going to put this IC launcher. Here in this palettes. IC launcher. See this. Now, for now it is showing the image. Palettes is showing the color from this image. Right, now I've changed this to IC launcher. Now run it again. Let's see how it's look. So I've run the application. CardView. See, now it is changed, right? So now it is fetching the color from the IC launcher, right? So this is all about the palettes. Now let's see how we have integrated the action bar, right? So we have menu. So see, this is the action bar. When I click of this, we are showing the action bar. We have two more button, plus, delete, right? So this is your action bar, and I have put a menu here. So let's see what is menu. So if you see, we have a menu folder, and here I have created a menu. This is item 1, item 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So this is for the add, this is for the delete, this is for the search, this is for the setting, right? So I have created this menu, right? And we are showing it on a card list, right? So we see this card list. We have implemented two methods on create option menu, where we are initializing this menu, and on the second one where we are handling the click listener, right? So guys, this is all about the material designs, right? So now we have many, you have a scope, right? You can work on the material design, and material design not ends here, right? It has a lot of things. Even if we start learning it, it will take around 1 week to complete the material design, right? It is much more. So but what we have discussed is the major one, right? So let's start working on the material design and come up with new good designs, right? So guys, I have done. Thank you for your time. So Abhinav, I have done with the session. We have done with the session. So guys, you'll got your reply on the poll, right? You can every answer will be question. Every question will be answered. So don't have to worry.
Dear candidates, would want you to stick with us for another 5 minutes time. We would be initiating a poll. Request you all to answer on it. I hope you all had a great time. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.